welcome back to another Money Tip Monday. Today we're going to be talking about the financial issues facing millennials. I was doing a quick Google search on tactics and things that millennials need to know about money, and I found article after article after article talking about the financial stresses that are facing this generation, which is now the largest living sector of our population, and things that are just kind of unheard of. Many of them living underneath the poverty level, many of them having unprecedented student loan debt. And it really got me thinking that we really need to re-examine finances and what we're spending. So before we get into all that, guys, I am gonna ask you to go ahead and like and subscribe. And definitely do not be afraid to hit me up with more DMs and more questions on things you'd like us to review and talk about here on Money Tip. So let me first get into why this Google search. So a couple of weeks ago, actually maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I got a comment that said, how do you save money while living paycheck to paycheck? And it has bothered me that I haven't had a good answer for this for weeks. So I have read some books, I've listened to lots of podcasts, I was just really trying to figure out a really good, concrete, tactical way to answer this. And because when I was living paycheck to paycheck, I know me personally, I wasn't the best at saving. But first, let's talk about all the different things that millennials have to face nowadays. So one of the most unique things that is facing this generation and generations to come is the unprecedented increase in student education debt. So these are all your student loans, the cost of tuition, the cost of books, the cost of housing. I mean, it's literally risen 400% in the last 30 years, which is crazy. The fact that it's outpacing inflation at such an insane rate, I don't think that we're getting the kind of value that we need to be getting for a 400% increase. And then when I researched the average income of a millennial, it's under $38,000. So unprecedented debt, lower income coming out of college. Now, the next thing that people haven't really thought about, because, if you read the headlines, it says millennials live at home, millennials are taken care of by their parents, millennials, the freeloaders. Well, it's definitely flipping now that our baby boomers are getting older and their parents are now at an age where they need to be taken care of. So they're now seeing, in addition to higher student loans, lower wages, now an increased pressure to take care of aging parents. And when I went to go look up the average cost of taking care of an aging parent, the cost of that was $18,000 a year. Now, if that wasn't enough, guys, housing has increased in an immense way. House values have increased, rent has increased. In fact, rent has more than doubled in the last 10 years. So higher student loan debt, lower income, aging parents, higher cost of living for housing. I mean, this is a perfect storm for financial crisis for this generation. So what to do about it? So I think that it's really great to understand the issues facing our generation, but I also think it's super important not to act like victims and to get our boss mentalities and what can we do about this? Well, there's lots of things that we can do about it. I've made a video on side hustles. You can always try to earn more income. We can talk about negotiating tactics. I've also done a video on that. But we can really, really hone in on our spending habits. And so I want to tell you about an amazing podcast that I listened to from Dave Bach. He's actually the author of Smart Women Die Rich. And he's now just written a new book called The Latte Factor, which talks about how all of these little spendings that we do that we really feel like don't matter here and there actually are the reason that we're not getting ahead in life. And he has an amazing tactical way of paying yourself first that I feel like will just blow your minds. So in order to understand how we can be impactful, where we can take action, it's important to understand where you're spending your money. Now, I did a quick Google search and just looking at things that I feel like most people do. So the average person spends $20 a week eating out. Now, $20 a week doesn't sound like a lot of money, but when I tell you it's $1,000 a year eating out, at Chick-fil-A and Jimmy John's, you're like, was that really worth it? I spent $1,000 on Jimmy John's. Now, the next thing is the average person in the age group of 25 to 34 spends $2,000 on coffee a year. the cost of owning a smartphone, and not just your cell phone provider, but the average cost of upgrading your smartphone year over year and what somebody spends in their lifetime to have a cell phone. What you would be super surprised to find out is that in a study that Fox Business did, if you were to get a phone at the age of 18 and then, carry it till you were 78, you would have 22 smartphones in your life, and the average cost of a smartphone is $567. So over your lifespan, you would spend $12,474 on just the technology. So that has zero to do with the cell phone coverage, the data coverage, the different apps that you buy. I mean, that is literally just the cost of equipment. There's additional things like the number of apps that people pay. Their subscriptions are anywhere between $88 a month to $200, and they're just reoccurring. And there isn't any data on this yet because the technology is so new, but things like Apple Pay, Google Pay, Amazon Pay, all of these things where it's just a double click, you're just unconsciously spending on things you don't necessarily need. What's crazy though is I thought, well, if there isn't data on this yet, what's the most similar thing that I could, attach to? And what's crazy is Amazon is the big disruptor in this space. They're the ones that led the charge making online shopping a thing. According to Business Insider, they have data from 2017. This is always lagging. The average Amazon person that had a Prime subscription spent more than double than somebody who just shopped on Amazon. So the set it and forget it subscription service was $1,400 versus $600. I thought that was pretty insane. There's all of these little things that we do and spend where we're just not really being conscious of them, or we feel like we need them. So it's deciding between need and want. So back to David Bach. David Bach's strategy is all about paying yourself first. And so, I talked to you about Richest Man in Babylon, which is all about 10%. But if you are somebody who is living paycheck to paycheck, how do you do that? Well, the concept is paying yourself 1 hour of work a day. So if you're somebody who is, making $11 an hour in minimum wage, you are saving $11 every single day. You would save $4,015 a year if you concentrated on just saving $11 a day. $11 definitely, guys, can be easily spent and gobbled up on things that you don't even pay attention to, right? It's looking for coupons. It's going and ordering your groceries online and just getting the things that you need versus scouring the aisles and picking up all kinds of extra items that you definitely don't need but want. It's figuring out how to unsubscribe from all those set it and forget it programs. It's canceling the gym membership you haven't been to. It's figuring out how to get a cheaper lease for your car or a lower auto payment. It's all these different ways, but if you could do $11 a day, right, which is one hour of minimum wage every single day, you would have an incredible savings plan. This is more than most people save a year. And I feel like it's the first time that I've ever come across a strategy that I really feel can help somebody living paycheck to paycheck. Definitely check out this book. Actually, for the first 10 commenters, we're going to be sending you the book for free. It's so super impactful that you guys learn about these strategies, that you get ahead, and that we stop being headlines for the media. I would love for it to be Millennials, best generation in history, right? Hopefully, if we start imparting these tactics, we will be. So if you have any questions on this, want more information, want the book, comment and subscribe below. All right, until next time, guys, I will see you for another Money Tip Monday.